All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So we're going to cover three on this one today. We'll start with TE. I want to look at Nokia shortly after, and then MU will wind this out. 1, 2, 3. All right, and I'm really surprised that I haven't covered TE on the YouTube videos much, but I have definitely been talking about it. I started the search real quick. What am I trying to do? There we go. I was talking about this thing a lot last week, and we did see a real nice move this week. I'm liking the energy tickers, and it really feels like they're taking turns from each other, What's happening with TE, and this is the big part of it, is we are coming to basically an IPO resistance line, right? If you fall well below IPO and then you can make it back and then get over it, really, really big things tend to happen. And that's basically what we're going for right now on TE, all right? I've talked about Nokia a bit, and man, this is just lovely. First off, just bouncing on the 8 and the 20 like a champion, right? Just bounce, 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 bounce. It's just loveliness, right? From there, we got to go to the weekly to start zooming out, right? But again, all of these are years, and it's truly been almost 20 years since we've been in the $16 range. The last time we were around $16 was around 2008. This little range right here, right? So it is crazy to see what nothing turns into, and it is that green, green, green. I know it's a silly little catchphrase, but this is a beautiful, beautiful example of it, right? Just hold the moving averages and great things happen, right? Let's come back to the daily real quick. Let me just call this out. That's a really high 92 on the weekly, and we've basically been living up there, right? It is still a very, very healthy 67 on the daily, and I think that's a little bit more of what I'm focused on, all right? So that's the second one, and then really the last one, MU. This is one of those stocks that's really not supposed to do this, and it's beautiful when it does. We've talked about, again, this is another one, right? Like, we've talked about MU in the Discord for one of the mods. I don't know if he's on right now. Give it a sec. What am I doing? I'm so bad at the internet. He's not on. One of the mods, this guy right here, it starts with MU, and it is because of this ticker right here. Like, MU it is an important stock, and really, it's kind of the same thing we just talked about on none of them. But what this one is talking about is when you can break all-time highs, right? Like, let me just go back to the quarterly so you can see it. When we got over this previous all-time high line, right? Like, we were testing this in 24, testing it in 25. There was just no stopping this thing. And it is what all-time highs is. There's a reason we call it blue sky amazingness, right? So all-time highs is a beautiful, beautiful thing. As long as you're holding the moving averages, there's no educated resistances I can draw. And man, that's just an unstoppable beast right there, right? So we'll talk about mainly about the loveliness of all-time highs and why it's better to have an all-time high in your stock portfolio versus an all-time low chasing, you know what I mean? But more than anything, I'll obviously talk about what I'm expecting for this in terms of the technicals, right? Lastly, let's just take a look at this. This is beautiful, right? We have a very, very strong gap up. We still have a very healthy 74 RSI. Again, QQQ is the mirror of NASDAQ, right? And actually, it's not as mirrored. It looks a little less weak right here, but still a good percentage. But again, still very, very healthy indicators right there. S&P 500 also does the gap up, not a stronger percent, but still very, very healthy numbers. That does make me like the tech ocean, and all of these are basically tech stocks, right? So really excited for all three of these, all right? So before we do go any further, though, and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal, and I definitely got to draw a couple more, but there are horizontal support and resistance lines I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with all these algorithms, but just being here, giving me your time, yo, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So, look, let's get into TE. I really do want to zoom out, and I actually don't want to talk about this just yet. You know, I live and die by the moving averages, and up here is way more important generally than down here, but volume is king, right? Volume is queen for the ladies watching this thing. And look at what is happening with volume. We have never seen any sort of volume over this $43 million day right here. And it was actually a bad day. That 43 million volume, where is it? This one right here, we were on our way down, right? So it wasn't a good green strong candle, right? We have now been this high and are basically establishing a horizontal like regularity around 70 million, right? This was not a pump and dump. This was a pump and hold. Yeah, you can say it's going down like that, right? But clearly the price is going up, and it really is because of this hold. One more time, we've never seen any, like, let's just look at the weekly, right? This single week of trading last week was probably all of these added up, right? Like, we have never seen anything close to this kind of volume. And hey, I don't know if the rest of the week is going to look like this or not, but we're at least starting this week well. We are a little under last Monday's volume, but hey, as long as we can stay this consistent, I also don't want to pump and dump the weekly volume. I want to do that same hold, right? I want another good 5 days of volume here so that we get one good weekly candle that holds this 400 million total, right? But just rough math, right? Assuming it's roughly the same, we got 70 million today. We still got another 5 total days of trading. No, this is a short week. We're at Tuesday. So 70 times 4 will be a little less than 25, a little more than a 25% drop. It looks like we'll be right around there for volume. Again, to me, it's not a crazy dump, right? And yeah, we have one less day, but as we keep going, it's going to be hard to remember this one, right? I'm just kind of looking for that total consistency. But one more time, we actually did go down a little bit on the day after. So hey, on the week after, if we come down a little bit, it's arguably still okay, right? So let's just play it out, but I'm telling you, this volume is significant, all right? So from there, again, I kind of talked about two things. Number one, this has been catching my eye. TE, I know I mentioned it a bunch last week. It's only 2 little things, but it's definitely a bunch. TE has been catching my eye. This has been trying to escape all. When you can get over all 5, you fly, right? And we've seen it do it before. And I was really looking for it to start doing it again, right? And so far, so good. The only thing that's somewhat bothersome, right? I'm always looking for that back-to-back confirmation. This is the first good candle, that's just a doji. This is another good candle, give me one more. Make me believe the confirmation's there, and that's gonna really do some good stuff. Last thing, and again, I mentioned in the beginning, we are at this IPO line, right? I'm assuming this was a SPAC that went poorly. Like whenever I see a $10 line like this with like some ups and downs, I don't know if it was or not, but I'm assuming that this was a SPAC that de-SPACed poorly, right? And when you lose IPO that hard and then get to it and then hopefully surpass it, that's really where big things happen. And that's the big test that's going on right now, all right? So in terms of tomorrow, look, I'm okay if this comes down as low as 950. All right, I just need to hold at least 50% of today's candle. And kind of looking at how this thing moves, right? It goes up and then it comes back down. It goes up and then it comes back down. It goes up and then it actually comes back down like that. We've gone up. I don't know if we're going to have to wait for the 8 moving average to kind of catch up. And if I had to guess, that'll probably happen around that 950 range that I was talking about, right? So we've seen it come up and then need the 8 to kind of keep going. That's at least where that 950 comes from. Otherwise, what I'm basically looking for, I might zoom in. Let's at least just kind of draw that as the baseline, and let's zoom in a little bit. What does this look like? Oh, that was a really good draw. Look at that. So we have the top of that, almost half of that. Looks like a top right there. I like that. Looks like a top right there. 1135 is basically the next thing I'm looking for after 990 confirms. All right. So right now, those are basically my next two lines, right? Let's go to the weekly so it's easy to see. Ah, man, I keep zooming in and out. I apologize. We're either looking for 1134 up or 950 down. All right. That's basically what we're looking for. TE, I'm liking it. I still really am. And this volume consistency is really, really important. If we can do the same on the weekly, oh, it's going to be a monstrous, monstrous move right there. All right. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Even if you disagree, let's come take a look at Nokia really quick and NOK. And look, there's a lot of catchphrases I like to say on this channel that sound really easy because I sincerely believe that this stuff isn't that hard, right? And it's simple for a reason. And red, 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 green, 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 break all five and fly. Like they're simple for a reason. And when you see them in action, you're kind of like, oh my, this really is red, red. I keep forgetting. I gotta go to the weekly. This truly is red, 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 green, 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 red, 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 and then just nothing, nothing, nothing to all the way where we're at right now, right? Like this is what happens when you find these incredible channels that have this red, 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 green, 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 nothing, nothing, nothing in between, you know? The other thing that is just really making this take off is the volume, right? Just zooming out, you can see it. We have never had anything like this. Right? That is nice, strong volume. You can see the 50-day line is rising rapidly and we're basically hitting it. We're getting another nice reset of volume right there. What actually also happened was the RSI was at the 80 mark. Again, you always hear me say we have to at least ring the alarm bell at 80. It came all the way down to a very healthy 56 and it seems like it's ready to go back up to a nice another 80, right? So this looks nice. This looks super, super nice and bouncing on the 8 like a champion, right? So what are we looking for next? Let's draw a couple lines. I'll zoom in, but I can kind of see where I want to draw it already. Let's come to here. I'm basically looking for the top of this. Oh, what did I just click? I have no idea. Let's delete that. Whoopsies. This thing. So I'm basically looking for the top of that, I think. Cool. I see the top of that, but I like this line. So we're already over that. My goodness, that was the 1640. Sorry, 1614. We're already over that. Yeah, I got to come here, right? And I think it's your 50% then. Cool, which is the top of that. Peak here. It looks like 2330 is next, okay? I will, oops, this might be something, 1877. Yeah, it looks like it's 50% of that. Looks like it's a little bit of a top of that. There's a small horizontal. I don't think this 1877 is going to do much. I really don't. We're basically looking to go 1877, then 2330, okay? And then kind of coming back to the daily realities. I'm okay even if this thing drops to 15. I really am. Because again, we tend to go up, we come back down, we tend to go up, we come back down, we've now gone up. Maybe we'll come back down as we wait for this line to come back up and then just shoot back up again, right? But it really feels like this thing is ready to go. I gotta go to the, I keep forgetting. It's a beautiful problem to have, right? But yeah, we're basically looking for 1877 and 2330 next. We are bullish even if this thing drops all the way to 15. Cool. Yeah, that's about it. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Last but not least is MU. All right, and you know this is just craziness. It is, and the real answer, as I look at it, is basically a combination of three things. All right, first one really is when you break all 5 moving averages, you fly. You break them up and you fly, and hey, honestly, you break them down and you do die. Right? Like this, it happened again, right? Like it's seen both sides of this, and we've seen multiple examples of the good and the bad with breaking them up and losing them down. This thing went from this 100 range all the way to this 900 that we're at pushing after hours, right? So you break all 5 and you do fly. The next thing is, and I showed it in the opening thoughts. So this was the previous all-time highs, right? We had never been over that before, right? I'll go to the monthly just to show it. We'd never been over that line before. In 2024, that was the peak. We then obviously came down to here, and once we got over it, and look, we gapped up over it too. That's a nice way of saying, hey, bye-bye line, right? Once you get into all-time highs, there are no resistances, all right? And all you got to do is hold the moving averages and just watch the rest happen, right? Even this one right here, look, you lose the 20, you're going to come to the 50, right? You lose the 8, you come to the 20, you lose the 20, you come to the 50. Even as much as that wasn't great, hey, at least we had some lines to support it and give us some thoughts, right? 50 does the job again. When you lose the 50, you come to the 100, and that's exactly what it did, right? And you got to believe as they're more established stocks, these moving averages are just that much truer. And you can see like near perfection that happens with the drops in the lines, right? Again, these are computer generated, right? I have no influence at all on these. But when you break all-time highs, and then let's just follow what happens when you broke this next all-time, right? Like we break all-time highs. When you break that next all-time high, right? We tried, dojis don't count, we tried, and then we go, right? And then again, when you break that next all-time high, that's what happens, right? So it is what it is. And as you start looking down here, RSI was a very high 89. It then comes all the way down to a very healthy 66. We're now at a 70, right? So really at this point, that's the most educated line I can draw. This thing can come all the way down to 860, and it's very bullish. All right. If we lose 860, there's a little bit of a worry of coming down to 820. It feels very difficult to lose that 820, right? What I'm now expecting is what we've been expecting. When you break an all-time high, there is no educated line I can draw up here. There's no reason for me to say 964, 938, 99. There's no resistance. We are looking at a sunny blue sky of all-time highs. It is way better than the black hole vortex of death that is all-time lows. You know what I mean? So I'm just expecting 20% after 20% after 20%. That is a sentence I say often, and you can see the 20% that we got on today's break of all-time high. Just it is what it is, you know. So these are beautiful technical moves. They really are. And as you look at the tech ocean doing good things, the little boats that we pick can get bigger and bigger and go deeper and deeper into the oceans, right? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Even if you disagree, hey, I appreciate you so much.